future of CASP is tied directly to our past. From the very beginning, this organization has been about serving autism service providers. There is a culture to show up, to share, to exchange, to help others improve. This is not about competing. This is about all of us coming together to provide the best quality services and care for people with autism. CASP is celebrating its 10-year anniversary. But before CASP had a P on the end of our name, we were just the Council for Autism Services.
So the way it actually started was a colleague of mine, Ray Romanchik, we found ourselves at autism conferences. We didn't find any of the workshops to be very helpful. So we would end up in the bar and we would start to talk about, real issues. Issues like, wow, we're having trouble getting staff, or did you read the new policy that's coming out from state ed? And so we were joking for at least 3 years about, we're gonna start this group. And then one day, he and I said, it's time.
The CASP conference, as it initially started, I really feel like was a mix of part support group, think tank, a gathering of friends. I remember the very first conference, we set very minimal goals. I think Joanne got up and she said, I can guarantee you 2 things.
We only promised 2 things in those early days. You were going to meet somebody new.
And as a CEO, you're gonna learn something that's gonna help you run your business. That's the only 2 things I can tell you, so take the risk. 45 people showed up, and the only criticism they had at the end of the day was they wanted 2 days.
Well, every time we had a conference, there was this sentiment that CASP needs to do more, or there is nobody speaking on the behalf of organizations like ours. There's nobody speaking on behalf of the individuals we're serving. We need to be that voice. We need to become a real organization.
We recognized the need to formalize the organization, but we didn't have any money. So we all decided we would contribute to a founding pool of cash to get it off the ground.
We were really fortunate to have Emily Callahan come along and say, I'd like to be a part of this, and she became our first executive director, and in many ways really gave us some legitimacy.
I went to almost every single conference, and at every single conference I went to, I would rent like a little room, and I would put out the word, who wants to come meet and learn about CASP, to learn why you should become a member.
At the inception of CASP, it filled a void that was not being met in the industry. There was infrastructure and supports for individual practitioners, but in terms of leading an organization efficiently, it really filled that void.
CASP is all about its people. The board has always been a working board supporting the executive director. That becomes this snowball of capability. When CASP was able to lure Lori to be its CEO, we started to really get some scale in terms of the membership.
I think I didn't envision in those early days just how powerful an organization CASP could become. I credit the CASP members. They decide, here's what we ought to do next. They step up and they lead.
The practice guidelines, this is something that's really important to the field, and it's an opportunity for CASP as an organization to help communicate to clinicians, to organizations, to funders, to advocates, what constitutes the appropriate level of care for the patients that we serve.
When you think about the impact of COVID, the telehealth guidelines were absolutely critical. The providers adopted them very quickly, payers adopted them, and it allowed people to get services who honestly, otherwise in the pandemic, would have been left with nothing.
CASP is impactful because it connects people to people. It takes 2 people, which then grows to 5 people, to 50 people, to hundreds of people. And think about this. You have a need, you ask the question, somebody in the community of CASP will help solve that problem for you. I belong to a lot of organizations, and there are none that provide the amount of information at the snap of a finger that CASP does.
Our industry is filled with a lot of very young professionals. They didn't walk into this thinking, I want to be in management or I want to be a business. You have a great leadership program where there's an opportunity now to learn from veterans who've been through the mill. And it's a chance to build a network of other folks. Who are you going to dinner with? Who are you chatting with over breaks? Because we want you to go home with a list of people that you can call.
CASP has really filled a gap in terms of providing these cutting-edge resources that help guide the profession, not only in operational efficiency, but also in clinical practice. There are so many other resources to ensure that we can continue to raise that bar.
I think the first thing to realize about insurance for autism service providers is this was a completely new space for all of us. We were in the Wild West. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew how to navigate that. How do you navigate insurance companies? How do you deal with appeals? How do you deal with negotiating insurance reimbursement rates? CASP was really the first one to come out and be able to help us.
Before CASP got involved in advocacy, sometimes decisions were being made on the Hill without any national representation of the autism community. And it's critical to have a voice in their ears at the times they're making decisions about your profession and about the families that you serve. So CASP has a regular presence on the Hill. We have established relationships with the decision makers who are dealing with our issues.
I think it's an extraordinary challenge to advocate at the state level. A good example where CASP has been effective has been in New Hampshire, where the state was trying to restrict the number of codes that could be billed through their Medicaid program. And CASP went in and made a very convincing argument that that would not be in the benefit of the people being served, and they backed off on that.
Okay, find the tree. Yeah, way to go. Nice.
With all of the interest in ABA and with the increasing explosion in autism numbers, there's been a proliferation of ABA providers, and we were concerned that some of them may be really high quality and some may not. Families don't know how to differentiate, so we thought it was very important to have an accreditation entity that can go in and thoroughly examine the practices of an organization to decide whether they merit our seal of approval.
My staff attend conferences all over the country. When my leadership staff come to CASP, they feel differently. It's the first place where people can talk about the science of ABA, but also talk about the science of management, where they're talking about how do we get good quality outcomes, where people talk about what about employee management, what about performance management in employees, how do we get the best outcomes. It brings all of the tasks that they need to do on a daily basis into one conference.
If CASP were never created, the world of autism services would be vastly different.
Had I not have been a part of CASP, I just wouldn't see myself where I am today.
Without CASP, a lot of providers probably would not be here today. There's just too many variables that they would not have access to, or they couldn't afford to have access to.
They wouldn't have the breadth and the comprehensiveness of relationships that CASP provides to its members.
If you are interested in providing services to kids and adults with autism, you're interested in focusing on what really creates results, you want to network with a group of other providers who are struggling with the same things you're struggling with. And if you want to figure out how to do this well, then join CASP. Be a part of what we're doing.
The future of CASP is tied directly to our past, to make sure that autism providers are supported, are successful, and can do a great job of providing evidence-based services for the people we serve.